All right, so let's clean this up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and scroll out. What I want to do is sort of cover something where, say you have two interfaces. You're working at a company, and notice that we do have two interfaces here. You have two or more interfaces. And what happens if I create an interface and one of my colleagues, we're not necessarily talking at the time, and we both create a method in an interface that is named the exact same thing, right? So here's my interface, ISavable and IEncryptable, right? Now let's say we have a method here that's called void name. That's all. And he was saying, you know what, maybe uh, he was saying like maybe we need to name something else, something some sort of decryptable thing. Notice that both of these have this, right? So I'm going to go into my save system and sort of delete all of this stuff except, well, let's just get rid of all of it, right? I'm going to delete all of these. Well, actually, here's my save system. Here's my main. Um, I'm going to gut all of these for a second. What's the easiest? All right, let's get rid of, yeah, we'll leave all of that stuff in there. So I guess the best way to do is let me shrink all of this down. I'm trying to make this as clear as possible. So we have our decrypting method, our encrypting, our load state, and our save state. There we go. So here I'm going to space this out, and then in my program down here I'm going to get rid of this logic. So really we're just looking at that object and our console.writeLine. Alright, so it's a little bit cleaner. Alright, so here we have two interfaces with the same name. And you'll notice both of these turn red because they're both missing that name method. Alright, so let's take a look at this. So what we can do inside of here is, notice if I click on this and I hit Alt Enter, it asks me to implement name. But the problem is if I go here, it didn't give me anything, right? And the reason for that is it's assuming that both of these interfaces are pointing to the same method. But oftentimes the name of something encryptable or the name of my save system would be different. So the way to get around this, because you don't know how in-depth this interface is used in other systems, so you can't adjust the interface, is in your code itself is to take the name of the interface, place it in front of our name here, and then use our dot operator to indicate that this is derived from the ISavable interface. Now, let's go ahead and copy this here, our console.writeLine from one of these, so we have some sort of, here we'll copy this, paste that in here. Now, what we want to do too is, let's get rid of this guy, do the same thing for this. So I'm going to highlight this, hit Control D after, and I'm going to go ahead and name this one IEncryptable here. Now notice with this technique, the reason we're getting these lines here is you can't make it public for this item because we're only using it to edit that area. Because otherwise, if we allow this to be public, then we can access this. It causes a redundancy issue where it's coming up and editing our initial code. All right, so let's go ahead and just say, I'm going to just copy and paste this inside of here. Like that. And I'm going to copy and paste this one inside of this guy here. And that way, in our main program, we can grab this one. And you'll notice, if I type this out, we have to go about assigning it or using it in a different way, because really we're just using it within this class. So what we have to do, since we can't use the exact interface, right? So we go notice that neither of these pop up. So how are we able to access these? Well, we have to create an object, a new object, from that interface's name. So I'm going to grab my ISavable here, and I'll just name this IS equals our system object, which is giving us access. I'm going to hit Control D here. And I'm going to make this encryptable. I'm going to name this IE. And actually, let's make this ISA or something, just for the time being. That's is a it's a keyword used by C#. So here we have our two objects with our two names. So all I have to do now is just type in IAS dot, and now you'll see we have name down here. So let's go ahead and run that and see what happens. Well, actually, let's just do both while we're at it. So let's duplicate this, Control D. Let's grab our IE here. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit F5. And you can see we get those two printed out values.